In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create this snowing image, so how to make your pictures look like it's snowing. So this is the original image that I took, and now this is what I transformed it into, just to make it kind of look like it's snowing. I know there are a few tutorials out there on how to do this, but this is my version of it, and this is kind of a conversion of IceFlow Studio's tutorial, so I'll leave a link in the description to that where you can look at the Photoshop version. It's not exactly like it, but pretty more or less like it. So go ahead and grab your image, and the first thing you're going to want to do is get your fuzzy select tool up here in your toolbox and make sure the mode is on add to current selection. And what we're going to be doing is just selecting the sky area of our picture, and what we're going to do is desaturate it a little just so it doesn't look quite as blue, because then it'll look more like it could be snowing. So just using your fuzzy select tool, just click around in the area of your sky. And once you've done that, go to Colors, Hue, Saturation, and lower the saturation to around 50, and then up the lightness to about 2019. And you can always play around with this. These are just my settings. And then just go to Select None. So once you've done that, just duplicate the layer by pressing the icon in your Layers window, or by going to Layer, Duplicate Layer. Then set your foreground color as a light blue. The blue I'm using, the HTML notation is 4EAEFF. Then set your background color as a darker blue. The HTML notation for the blue I'm using is 1B5A8F. Then go to Colors, Map, Gradient Map, and then set this layer mode onto Overlay. Now this blue is a little too intense, so I'm just going to lower the opacity of that just a little. Actually, I'm going to lower it to around 40. You can always adjust that however you want, but this just makes it so it gives that kind of cold feel to your image. So now create a new layer and get your bucket fill tool and set your foreground color as black and just fill that in. Then go to Filters, Noise, HSV Noise, and the settings I'm using are Holdness 3, Hue 180, Saturation 0, Value 255. Just something that looks like this. Then select OK. Now as you can tell, there's a little too many dots, so go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm blurring this by 2. Then go to Colors, Levels, and I'm just going to drag my left hand black arrow over a little, and then I'm going to drag my mid-tone one over as well, and I will drag my white arrow over too, so that it's something like this. So for the number over here for my black pick point, it's 45, my mid-tone arrow is at 1.82, and my white arrow is at 179. You can always play around with this, just something that looks like this is fine. Now go to your layers window, and under mode, set this layer mode onto screen. That just gets rid of that black background. Now I want it to look like my snow is falling, so I'm going to go to Filters, Blur, Motion Blur, and I'm going to go with a length of 4. You can always increase this or decrease this, and you can always adjust the angle however you want. I'm just going to go with an angle of 232, and then select OK. That just makes it kind of look like your snow is moving, not really that much. Then duplicate this layer, and then grab your scale tool and just click on the layer, and now over here where it says pixels, click that and then select %. Make sure this chain thing is locked, so this is what it looks like when it's locked. and then just set in 200 for the width, and then select scale. And that just makes our snow look a bit larger. And you go to Layer, Transform, Rotate 180. And that just makes it so that the snow isn't directly on top of each other. And that's pretty much it for this snow tutorial.